When discussing the global tech race, the conversation usually circles around two things: designing the smartest artificial intelligence and manufacturing the most advanced microchips. The sheer volume of hardware already deployed is massive. Right now, China operates more robots in its factories than the rest of the world combined. But there is a massive blind spot in this narrative. None of that high-end software or complex robotic machinery matters if you can't actually power it. If the only determinant were the availability and cost of energy, China would be winning that race. The defining battlefield of the 21st century is grounded in the heavy industrial engineering required to keep the lights on inside software labs and manufacturing plants. Modern economies have a zero-tolerance policy for power failure. Imagine a fleet of self-driving vehicles traveling at highway speeds. If the data center monitoring those cars loses power for even a fraction of a second, the physical consequences on the road are catastrophic. Contrast that strict demand with the current reality in the United States. We are rapidly expanding our technological ambitions, while our actual physical power generation stagnates. This creates what experts call an energy gap. We are building massive, power-hungry data centers at a record pace, but are barely breaking ground on the new power plants to supply them. Compare that to China's trajectory. Over the next few years, their manufacturing sector is projected to grow by 10% annually. To keep up, their baseline electricity demand will spike by 4 to 5% across the country every single year. Mastering artificial intelligence is irrelevant if a nation lacks the physical grid capacity to safely run the computing infrastructure behind it. To meet this surging demand, China is pushing heavily into renewable energy. But they know wind and solar aren't enough on their own, so they are aggressively supplementing that grid with nuclear power. Nuclear reactors generate electricity through fission. Uranium atoms are split apart to release intense heat. That heat boils water into steam, driving massive turbines. This provides a stable, zero-carbon baseload power. This reliability is crucial to anchor highly intermittent renewable sources like solar and wind. Even if a country's energy mix is only 15% nuclear, that dense, predictable foundation allows the entire low-carbon system to remain stable enough to handle high-tech industrial demands. The scale of China's nuclear ambition is massive. They are targeting roughly 10 gigawatts of new capacity every single year for the foreseeable future. For context, a single gigawatt can power hundreds of thousands of homes. Right now, China has 28 nuclear reactors actively under construction. That accounts for nearly half of all the reactors being built on the planet today. Now look at the United States. Despite recent funding commitments of $80 billion for new plants, we have only managed to build 2 new nuclear reactors in the last 15 years. China is also systematically funding specific research projects to indigenize every piece of equipment and technology required to run these plants without relying on outside help. This chart visualizes the resulting innovation gap. In the first 10 months of 2025 alone, China filed over 670 nuclear-related patents. The US filed roughly 320. While China pours massive resources into specialized engineering programs at their top universities, the US political landscape is shifting. The Trump administration has proposed a 57% budget cut to the National Science Foundation, directly targeting clean energy and climate research. China is actively constructing an entirely self-contained, state-backed industrial ecosystem, exactly as the United States pulls funding from its own scientific researchers. But this story is not a straightforward narrative of Chinese invincibility. Beneath this rapid nuclear expansion lies a severe structural vulnerability. Despite their aggressive domestic build-out, China remains a net energy importer. They are heavily reliant on securing foreign oil and gas just to keep their economy functioning. And if you look at their overall grid, their newly installed nuclear and renewable capacity is still vastly dwarfed by a massive carbon-heavy reliance on coal. This aggressive push acts as a defensive measure to secure basic energy independence, rather than a simple play for global tech dominance. China is racing against the clock, trying to build their way out of geographic vulnerabilities before a global supply chain shock can cripple their grid. Returning to the United States, the short-term risks are undeniable. America faces a critical bottleneck in generating enough electricity to power the immediate artificial intelligence boom. But the long-term outlook reveals a distinct structural advantage: raw creative talent. America possesses an enormously vibrant private sector. Historically, when that market is fully unleashed on complex infrastructure and engineering bottlenecks, it finds solutions. It is a battle of two distinct models. China relies on massive, top-down directives executed by state-owned enterprises, while America bets on the agility of private market innovation. Ultimately, the victor in this 21st century tech war will be the nation that can physically guarantee the power never fails.